trucks? Well, I bet you can. Come on and try it now. Count and clap your hands. An excavator digs the deepest holes. The front end loader loads like no one loads. Our friend the scraper roughly grades the ground. The great bulldozer shoves big loads of dirt around. Here is the grader that some might call the blade. He's there to smooth the ground so the road can then be paved. An impact hammer smashing hard into the ground. He makes a lot of noise as his hammer pounds and pounds. Here is a backhoe who plays so many roles, digging holes or grading or loading up a load. Then there's the forklift, lifting way up high, carrying his pallets way up in the sky. The feller buncher has a funny, funny name. He cuts and bunches trees with his giant 6-foot blade. And the delimber clears the branches off a tree. Those trees make paper and logs and wood for you and me. Hey, you named all these trucks, and very nicely too. Now let's watch them work and find out what they do. Is more like fun. He digs with his big bucket and works out in the sun. He can dig the deepest holes that you have ever seen. Oh, other trucks can dig, oh yes, but not like this machine. Far below the tracks that keep him safe from falling in this deep, deep hole. One of his best talents is spinning all the way around in either of both directions. His tracks stay firmly on the ground. Excavators are sometimes called diggers. This is because their main job is to dig. Do you see how far down this bucket can go? Other trucks, like front-end loaders, can't reach their buckets nearly this low. The bucket on both of these kinds of trucks can be called a shovel, just like the shovel you use to dig up dirt and sand. But an excavator's shovel is huge and very strong. Look at the teeth on this shovel. Some excavators can dig up more than a ton in one scoop of their bucket.
This is the work I really love, because that's what an excavator does. I said, this is the work I really love, because that's what an excavator does.
After a long day of hard and dusty, dusty work, he likes to take a shower and spray off all that dirt. He'll start tomorrow early, just as the new day dawns, and work a long, long day again. But you'll never see him yawn.
This is the work I really love, because that's what an excavator does.
Loaders often work with dump trucks, helping them to fill their beds up with rocks and gravel and other stuff. Others might be better at digging holes, but no one loads a load like a loader loads, and they can play many other roles. Because there isn't any on the road as good at loading heavy loads. Front end loader, you're as good as gold. This truck is cleaning up the messy debris of bark and wood from all the fallen trees, pushing and scooping it up with ease. Watch now as this real big loader feeds a bucket full of little rocks that will be crushed to sand in this machine. Oh no, there isn't any on the road as good at scooping up a load. Front end loader, you're as good as gold. Here's another trick this loader can do. He can work just like a forklift too. With this tool he can remove, and then with a very simple move, he can reattach his bucket to his arms we call the boom. Working far away in a wooded grove, a loader uses grapple hooks to hold these logs that finish up the load. Oh no, there isn't any on the road as good at finding ways to load. Front end loader, you're as good as gold. Let's watch that trick again where the front end loader can go from working as a forklift to hooking up his bucket. Both the forks and the bucket are attachments that can be connected to the loader's arms. This means that a loader can transform into different kinds of machines if it needs to. For example, with a grapple attachment, this loader picks up logs and loads up a logging truck. Grapple means to grip or grab, and this truck uses another type of grapple attachment to load a dump truck with paper and cardboard in a recycling plant. So you see that front-end loaders can do all kinds of work using attachments. But of all the possible attachments a loader can use, its favorite is definitely his bucket. Like the excavator, a front-end loader's bucket is also known as a shovel. Did you also know that some front-end loaders have tracks instead of tires? Well, it's true. Tracks give loaders more traction and more stability. But most loaders you see will probably have tires. That's because tires allow a truck to drive faster and to move from place to place more easily. Either way, tracks or tires, these trucks are very good at moving loads around. Oh no, there isn't any on the road as good at loading heavy loads, as good at scooping up a load, as good at finding ways to load. There isn't any on the road as good at helping trucks to load. Front end loader, you're as good as gold. There's a truck who works real hard, building roads for people's cars, so you'll have a place to drive around on. He sure loves to dig, building homes where you can live. He's the truck you know that you can count on. If you've got a lot of dirt you need to move around, you can count on Scraper. Watch him cruising really fast to scrape up other ground, 'cause you can count on Scraper. He's building a new community. These roads will soon be running streams. The water from the streams will make a lake here. Then homes will sprout up from the ground, homes wherever you look around. Many kids like you will call it home here. Oh, if you got a lot of dirt you need to move around, you can count on Scraper. Watch him as he digs and watch him as he shapes the ground. Yeah, you can count on Scraper. Now here's something you might not know. Where dirt is held is called the bowl, and where it opens up is called the apron. It opens up to take a load and fills with dirt that leaves a hole. The ejector shoves it out so he can start again. So if you got a lot of dirt you need to move around, you can count on Scraper. Watch him cruising really fast to scrape up other ground, 'cause you can count on Scraper. A scraper's job is to do rough grading. The straight, flat edge on the front of the scraper's apron allows it to make even surfaces. So while a scraper digs up dirt and moves it around, it helps to make the ground that it scrapes flat or even. This is why scrapers often work on roads and housing developments where the ground needs to be flat. But Because a scraper does rough grading, the ground will need to be smoothed out even more by other trucks, like the grader we'll see in a minute. Some scrapers are also equipped with augers. The auger is made up of paddles that lift the dirt and rocks off the apron's front edge. These paddles spread the dirt and rock evenly in the bowl. The auger reduces dust and helps to break up the ground as it's scraped up. So if you got a lot of dirt you need to move around, you can count on scraper. Watch him cruising really fast to scrape up other ground, 'cause you can count on scraper. After a short break for lunch, they rumble out, and I have a hunch they'll be working all day long till nightfall. If you see him while you're out, maybe you could call and shout, "Hey, there goes a scraper! I can count on him." 'Cause if you got a lot of dirt you need to move around, you can count on scraper. Watch him cruising really fast to scrape up other ground, 'cause you can count on scraper. Oh, if you got a lot of dirt you need to move around, you can count on scraper. Watch him as he digs and watch him as he shapes the ground. Yeah, you can count on scraper.
They call him Bulldozer, or just Dozer for short. And every morning for work he'll report to shove big loads of dirt and rocks all around, and drag his ripper to tear up the ground.
Like an enormous crazy caterpillar, he is the meanest, toughest of all tractors, known as a crawler. He's so good at his work, uses his ripper to break the hardest
They
dirt.
call him Bulldozer, or just Dozer for short. And every morning for work he'll report to shove big loads of dirt and rocks all around, and drag his ripper to tear up the ground.
To do his moving, he uses a blade, it's made of metal. Some call it a plate. In back the ripper can have one or more shanks. These trucks are so tough, they could tow a tank.
They call him Bulldozer, or just Dozer for short. And every morning for work he'll report to shove big loads of dirt and rocks all around, and drag his ripper to tear up the ground.
Their tracks of steel can work any terrain. They are so strong that it boggles the brain. Working with scrapers and with graders too, they clear the land, and oh, they do it so soon.
Seriously, this is one very tough truck. It uses its blade in front to scrape, push, and move materials around. And it uses its ripper in back to tear up hard ground. The ripper can have just one shank, like on this dozer, or it can have two or more shanks. The shanks are the teeth that the ripper uses to break up the ground. This truck has a ripper with two shanks. Listen, can you hear it scraping against the rocks as it tears up the earth? Bulldozers use big metal tracks to move around. This gives them plenty of traction, allowing them to work just about anywhere. You might see bulldozers like this one working in a landfill or a dump, pushing piles of trash around. And here's another interesting thing about bulldozers. Some of these trucks have decelerators instead of accelerators. This means that these trucks will just keep moving unless the driver steps on the decelerator to slow them down. Go, Dozer, go.
They call him Bulldozer, or just Dozer for short. And every morning for work he'll report to shove big loads of dirt and rocks all around, and drag his ripper to tear up the ground.
They can push or pull other big rigs and help them out so they can dig and dig the most stubborn dirt and stone that's known, or if they need to, they can work all alone.
They call him Bulldozer, or just Dozer for short. And every morning for work he'll report to shove big loads of dirt and rocks all around, drag his ripper to tear up the ground. They call him bulldozer, or just dozer for short. And every morning for work he'll report to shove big loads of dirt and rocks on the
Have you ever seen a truck like this? Working the job, they're kinda hard to miss. If you know his name, well, you can shout it out now. And if you said grader, well, all I can say is wow. Some people call them graders, some people call them blades. They're very good at getting the road readied up to pave. And when it's very cold outside and there is lots of snow, you may see one cruising by, using its blade to clear the road. The main part of the grader is the straight blade you see here, one side in front of the other as the driver sits and steers. The front is called the toe and the back is called the heel. The blade's job is to level out the dirt behind the forward wheels. So this kind of a truck is called a grader. Remember how we said that scrapers do rough grading? Well, a grader's job is to do finish grading. Scrapers and bulldozers help to flatten out the ground, to prepare it for roads and buildings to sit on. But these trucks leave the ground still pretty rough. So when they're all done, the grader comes in and finally sets the surface of the ground. They can do this because of the wide, flat blade that they can control very carefully. The blade is the most important part of this truck. For that reason, many people call graders blades. The grader can do a lot of cool tricks. For instance, he can climb over rocks, humps of dirt, or anything else that might get in the way, one wheel at a time. This way, the blade can still stay level, even though the one wheel may go up over something. And check this out! See how the grader can lean his wheels? This is another trick that the truck can use to have more control over his blade. Most other trucks can only hold their wheels straight up and down. So the next time you see trucks out at work, look and see if any of them can lean their wheels like a grader can. I bet you they can't. Have you ever seen a truck like this? Working the job, they're kinda hard to miss. If you know his name, well, you can shout it out now. And if you said grader, well, all I can say is wow. Here's a special feature that many trucks don't have. If you watch real close, then you're sure to understand. The front wheel goes right up and over this great mound, while the blade stays where it is, nice and level with the ground. Another of this truck's very unique abilities is to do a special trick that's called a wheel lean. By leaning his wheels just a bit or even quite a lot, the grader operator here can control how his blade cuts. So, have you ever seen a truck like this? Working the job, they're kinda hard to miss. If you know his name, you can whisper it now. If you said grader, well, all I can say is, good job. When you need to smash up concrete, rocks, or asphalt, this is the machine you'll want to call. See how easy it is to break the street to pieces with a truck as strong as this one is.
It's the kind of job for the truck they call
Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer.
The force of the hydraulics sends hundreds of pounds of power slamming right into the ground. Keep a safe distance when it is working, 'cause chunks of rocks and things go flying.
Careful when you see the machine they call
Impact Hammer, Impact
operator, safe inside the driver's cab, wear safety goggles and a hard hat. There are two big joysticks that control the hammer. They tell it where to go and when to hit.
It's a kind of job for the truck they call
Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer.
Watch how the impact hammer sets his blade down on the ground behind him. This helps him to keep steady while he pounds away at the street. His tracks also keep him stable. These machines are used to break up hard materials, like the asphalt on this street. The impact hammer uses a chisel-like steel bit that jabs very quickly up and down to smash up whatever it needs to break. Impact hammers are also sometimes called hydraulic hammers. They make a lot of noise as they pound into the ground, so earplugs are a very, very good choice.
Careful when you see the machine they call
Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer.
It's a kind of job for the truck they call
Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer, Impact Hammer.
He's like a loader and a digger and a grader too. There aren't many jobs that this truck can't do. To switch from one to the other is easy, so push the button and to work you go. And for all his capabilities, they call him Mr. Versatility. Yeah. If you've got a tough job that you need to do, where an excavator loader wouldn't have the room, just let him know and he'll be there. He can do so much, some say it isn't fair. 'Cause for all his capabilities, they call him Mr. Versatility. Yeah. His two stabilizers keep him steady, so to scoop a load, he's always ready to go. You can move him around using his controls, spend all day just digging holes. And for all his capabilities, they call him Mr. Versatility. Yeah. Now, do you remember what we called these legs just a minute ago? That's right. They're called stabilizers. They help to keep the backhoe steady while it works. Whenever a backhoe is digging, you'll see it sitting up on its stabilizers. Some people call these trucks backhoe loaders because they have a digger, which is called a backhoe, on one side and a loader on the other side. So backhoes can both dig and load, but they can do so much more than that. Some of these trucks can use different attachments to do even more jobs. Why, this backhoe loader uses a blade that's attached to its bucket to grade or level the ground. And check this out. See how this machine is using an attachment to work as an impact hammer? He sure needs his stabilizers for a job like this. They help hold him in one place while he hammers. What an amazing truck! And for all his capabilities, they call him Mr. Versatility. Yeah. Now don't forget, he can also load, filling this dump truck working on the road. If you see him work, you might wanna say, Mom and Dad, I saw a backhoe today. And for all his capabilities, they call him Mr. Versatility. Yeah. Look here, this truck is his little bro. He's a miniature version of this backhoe. He can do anything that his brother can do, 'cause he's smaller, he can work in tighter places too. And for all his capabilities, they call him Mini Versatility. Yeah! And for all his capabilities, they call him Mr. Versatility. Yeah. Let's do the forklift boogie. Lift it up, set it down, back it up, turn around. The forklift boogie. Yeah. Oh, let's all do the forklift boogie. Back and forth and up and down. For a job like pallet moving, a better truck cannot be found. Oh, see how high he lifts this crate up, then so gently pulls his blades. He doesn't want anything to break up. That's just how a forklift's made. So do the forklift boogie. Lift it up, set it down, back it up, turn around. The forklift boogie. Made so his forks can fit through without any difficulty. Watch as this truck driver gets to line them up almost perfectly. All forklifts work in warehouses, at construction sites, and lumber yards. There you'll see large stacks of pallets. You won't have to look too hard to do the forklift boogie. Lift it up, set it down, back it up, turn around. The forklift boogie. Yeah. Forklifts are made for lifting really heavy loads. The load sits on the forks, which can also be called the blades. These blades are attached to a part called the carriage. And forklifts can lift their loads really high thanks to this part, called the mast. It lifts the carriage and the forks way up high. It can go slow. It can go fast. Whatever it takes to do it right. The driver usually tilts the load back when he's lifting and carrying it so that it doesn't slip off. He doesn't want anything to come tumbling down while he's lifting it to the top of this big storage rack. You won't see any other truck quite like a forklift. So do the forklift boogie. Lift it up, set it down, back it up, turn around. The forklift boogie. Such heavy loads that he has to have a counterweight in back. This is so he won't tip over. Sometimes it's a battery pack. And in case things come a-tumbling down, the forklift has an overhead guard. It protects the driver as he delivers his load in the lumber yard. So do the forklift boogie. Lift it up, set it down, back it up, turn around again. Lift it up, set it down, back it up, turn around. The forklift boogie. Yeah. The forklift boogie, everyone. Come back and do it with me again sometime. Real soon now. Fella bunch of funny sounding fella bunch of fella bunch of fella bunch of show us what you do. Do you know what feller means? Well, I can tell you now. To fell is to make something fall by cutting or knocking it down. See the blade cut this great big tree? And buncher, well, you might have guessed exactly what that means. Just look here now, it's grabbing and it's bunching all these trees. Oh, fella bunch of funny sounding fella bunch of fella bunch of show us what you do. This great big truck can really move, it's nimble as can be. It can spin itself completely around, that's 360 degrees. Wow, the fella bunch is big and strong as you can plainly see. Let's stop this blade and check it out. As it cuts this giant tree, wow, it's more than 6 feet wide. Yeah, fella bunch of funny sounding fella bunch of show us what you do. Feller Buncher is kind of a funny name, but it describes exactly what this cool truck does. To fell means to knock or cut down. And to bunch means to gather things together. So a feller buncher cuts down trees and then bunches them together. Like most big trucks, feller bunchers can be dangerous. Can you read the words that are on this feller buncher's boom? They say, keep back 300 feet. That's a lot of room. 300 feet is the length of a football field. Look, it has the same words on the back of the truck. Because this truck could swing all the way around at any time, and because of its sharp, powerful blade and the heavy loads of trees it can carry, no one should get too close while it's working, not even other big trucks. Now, fella buncher, back to work, you've lots more stuff to do. We'll return to say hello again very, very soon.
Fella buncher, fella buncher.
See you later, fella buncher.
Fella buncher, fella buncher, fella buncher.
Ken! Deliver!
These are the A, B, C, and D's of the truck whose job it is to clean all of the cut down trees of their limbs and of their branches.
A, B, C, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P,
Sing it to
Q,
me.
R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Scraping all the branches off, cutting the trees with a muffled roar, sucking logs into his mouth like a mechanical dinosaur. Powered by a big engine, he picks up all the trees the fella buncher set down on the ground and prepares them to be hauled into the town. Oh,
A is for all the wood he chews,
And B.
B is for the branches he removes.
Now
C
C.
is for the cuts that he delivers.
And D, the letter D, is for dilemma. To prevent an injury, it's best to stay far back from him. Logs can jump up or kick back when he is removing limbs. See how wide these big trees are and cut them just the perfect size. Some dilemmas measure them. It's a noisy operation, working in the pines. Oh,
A is for all the wood he chews,
And
B is
B.
for the branches he removes.
Now
C
C.
is for the cuts that he delivers.
Oh, and D, the letter D, is for dilemma. A dilemma's name also describes just what it does. A tree's branches are also called limbs, so a dilemma's job is to remove the limbs from trees. It does this by picking up the trees one by one and holding on to them while it scrapes off the branches. Then, it uses a chainsaw blade to cut the trees to the right length. Some dilemmas can also measure to see how wide a tree is. They do this to decide what kind of wood it will be made into. Dilemmas are very helpful trucks. They save a lot of time doing a job that used to be done by people with saws, who had to cut each branch of the tree themselves. Oh,
A is
yeah.
for all the wood he chews,
And
B is
B.
for the branches he removes.
Now
C
C.
is for the cuts that he delivers.
Oh, and D, the letter D, is for dilemma. Now where were we? At letter Q? Well, let's go then. They can work oh so quickly, rarely taking vacations, using chainsaws just like teeth in these forest locations. Dilemmas are so very useful and so valuable too. The logs they cut become our wood, and oh so many kinds of paper for you and me to use. Oh,
A is for all the wood he chews,
And
B is
B.
for the branches he removes.
Now
C
C.
is for the cuts that he delivers.
And letter D, the letter D, is for dilemma. Dilemmas are so excellent, working almost all year round in any logging or timber zone. If you'll do no more than look, they're certain to be found.